Hi, friends. Today I am here to read an excerpt from the Rooftop Party, my new book. I'm just going to read part of chapter 1. So I hope you like what you hear. And without further ado, I don't think there's anything you need to know. I'm just going to launch into it. This is from chapter 1 of the Rooftop Party. Dana Barry raised her fist to knock on the door and paused. She wasn't easily intimidated, but walking into Eleanor Gratz's office was like trying to open an umbrella in a hurricane, and she needed a moment to anchor herself. Not that Dana wasn't used to stormy weather. Until she got this job at the shopping channel, her life had been one shitstorm after another. The last monsoon hit 6 months ago when she was fired from her job at a mall store in Queens. With no acting auditions on the horizon, Dana didn't know how she would pay her rent, let alone her student debt. So she did the only thing she could think of. She got drunk and high. Thank God for her friend Megan, who burst in and dragged her to an open call. Now here she was with a steady gig as a shopping channel host, and she was crushing it. Dana took a breath and rapped twice on the door. If that's not Anthony Bourdain with an exotic drink and 2 tickets to Fiji, get lost, Eleanor called. Dana opened the door and stuck her head in. You know he's dead, right? Like this whole place might be if I don't get my work done. Despite the warning, Dana stepped inside. The sun-drenched office of the shopping channel's head buyer was a study in whites, grays, and aqua blues. Eleanor sat behind a long desk the color of sea pearls. She was 60-ish, with shoulder-length salt and pepper hair, offset by hammered silver hoop earrings. She wore a jewel-toned top with bell sleeves, bohemian-inspired but sophisticated. A pair of tortoiseshell reading glasses rested low on her nose. Through the window behind her, the Manhattan skyline flexed its might against the sky. Do you want me to come back? Dana asked. Like a yeast infection, Eleanor said, but she sighed, relenting. Sit down. Dana took one of the chairs opposite her desk, and the 2 women studied one another. Despite her bluster, Eleanor's demeanor was open, and Dana took a moment to reflect. She could hardly believe how long she'd been at this job without screwing it up. Usually, she'd be cleaning lead out of her foot by now and filing for unemployment. But somehow, every self-sabotaging shot had missed. So she was living the life of an actual adult with a paycheck that covered her expenses and then some. And sure, she missed the rush of going on auditions and the thrill of getting callbacks. She even missed nursing the hurt of rejections. But she didn't miss getting threatening notices when she was late on her student loan payments, or being so broke she couldn't afford tampons without a discount coupon. But lately, Dana worried it could all blow away. Despite her personal success, the company's sales were down overall. They had brought in a new CEO, sending a ripple of anxiety through every department. That's why she wanted to present her idea to someone important. They tell me you're a resident action hero, Eleanor said, saving us all from imminent demise. She laced her finger, and her emerald-cut diamond ring took center stage. It was flanked by sapphires, showcased in an Art Deco platinum setting. The piece was tasteful despite the size, and Dana could imagine cooing over it on the air. Some heroes wear capes and fight crime, Dana said, offering a self-deprecating smile. Me, I could talk for hours without taking a breath. Eleanor shook her head, her expression serious. Silly girl, you don't even know your own superpower. Enlighten me. It's your eye for detail. Dana shrugged. She'd heard that kind of thing before. She noticed minutia on an almost atomic level. It enabled her to talk about the quality of the polished rivets on a pair of jeggings With the same gushing enthusiasm, she could rally for a diamond ring. I've been told it's pathological, she said. As long as you move products, Eleanor said, I don't care what you call it. That's what I came here to talk to you about, products. Eleanor shrugged as if to say, what else is new? People talk to her about products all day long. Dana hoped she could break through and leaned forward to study Eleanor Gratz's age-defying complexion. Though her face was softening around the jawline, there was barely a wrinkle, and nothing about her appearance suggested Botox or a facelift. What kind of moisturizer do you use? Dana asked. It was a question she had formulated on the elevator. She would flatter her way in, but earnestly. Eleanor pulled off her glasses. I know an opening line when I hear one. There's a reason I'm asking. I would hope so. Dana regrouped. Eleanor wouldn't respond to fawning or manipulation. She had to get right to the point. Look, she said, I know we're not doing as well in apparel as we used to, but the fact is there's no way we compete with the internet. All those fashion websites, they're creaming us. They can't touch us on quality, but that's hard to demonstrate on TV. Skincare, on the other hand, please don't tell me you're suggesting a skincare line. Why not? I can sell it, Eleanor. I know I can. All I need is a couple of models and a tight shot of disappearing crow's feet. Eleanor laughed. Honey, you really think this is an original idea? I don't know if it's original. I just know I can make it work. She had been studying the industry giants, HSN and QVC, and knew that any product with a strong demo moved like beer at a frat party. 20 years ago, when this was still a young company, I brought in a skincare line and it was a disaster. Dana straightened her back. Maybe it wasn't the right time or the right host, or I don't know. Point is, 20 years is a long time. It's worth another shot, don't you think? Which is why I've been pitching the idea every few years, but the board always knocks it down. It's like they have PTSD for one loss on the books 2 decades ago. Dana considered this as she pictured the man now occupying the largest office in the company. He had the look of an aging preppy, with a full mop of white hair and webs of burst blood vessels on his nose and cheeks, evidence, she assumed, of a hard-drinking past, though today he seemed as sober as a judge. But we have a new CEO now, she pressed. Maybe he'll be open to it. Eleanor released a bitter laugh. Ivan Dennison. He was brought in to shake things up, wasn't he? Maybe this is just the... He'll never go for it. Are you sure? Trust me, Dana. I'd never get anywhere with Ivan. She trailed off as if she were burrowing deep inside an idea. What is it? Dana asked. Eleanor pursed her lips in thought. After a few beats, she lowered her head as if confiding something. Dana, there's a particular kind of man to whom women become invisible at a certain age. We've served our usefulness, and now we're dispensable. Ivan Dennison wouldn't hear me if I came in with a bullhorn. You? Dana asked. Eleanor was such an imposing presence, this was hard to imagine. Trust me, I could burst into flames and he'd lean forward to light a cigar. Dana squinted, struggling to understand. If he's such a sexist, why did the board? Because they're desperate and he's a ruthless fuck. Dana sat back and tried to reconcile this description of Ivan with the friendly man who had been introduced to her on the set. He'd been flattering and collegial, conspicuously straight-laced, the sort of man who found a way to work his marital status into every conversation with a woman. He seemed nice enough to me, Dana said. Eleanor indicated the entirety of Dana's lanky 29-year-old appearance with a sweep of her hand. Of course he did. What if I pitch the idea? Dana asked, energized. He seems to like me. He probably wants to bang you. So what? Dana said. He's got this whole choir boy vibe going on, like a born-again something or other. I don't think he'll come on to me. And if he does, he won't. Eleanor raised an eyebrow, and Dana got it. Guys who constantly mention their wives were covering up their darkest urges, cage beasts posing as carpool dads. I can handle it, Dana said. I promise. And that's all I'm going to read for today. It's just a little bit of chapter 1. I hope you liked it. I hope that interests you in the book. It's called, again, The Rooftop Party. And I hope you'll be interested to get yourself a copy. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.